you have to take care of you first before your kids, making sure that you're working out, you're getting adequate nutrition, that you're taking care of your mindset, that you're kind of doing things that feed your soul and set your soul on fire as well. It all leads to benefits in your production and your business and what you want to do as an entrepreneur. Then it's just kind of building little by little, but not losing sight of who you are as a person. A big key component whenever I have nutrition coaching clients, getting a good basis of what their relationship with food is. And it can be, like I said before, anything from restrictive eating to overeating and kind of what's happening in their life to make them veer one way or the other. A lot of it goes into what they were raised with. Did they have parents that were promoting a healthy relationship with food? The cold pressed juices are packed full of micronutrients that everybody focuses on protein, fats, and carbs, but the micronutrient benefits are so good for your immunity, for energy levels, for good sleep. It's incredible. I kind of deep dove into that and fell in love with doing cold pressed juices too, just for their benefits.
Welcome to the Colorado Springs Business Podcast, where we discuss business principles and provide real-life insight into the lives of everyday business owners and entrepreneurs. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe or leave a review wherever you might be listening. Now, let's talk business. We interrupt this program to bring you our sponsors, the people who help make this show possible. Dope Teez. Dope Teez is one of our fresh new sponsors that we have for you today. Dope Teez is here to help level up your style game. They're all about killer designs and top-notch quality. Seriously, go check them out. As a matter of fact, I'm wearing Dope Teez right now. This is a tee that I'm wearing that is a dope tee. Episode of the founder and owner of Dope Teez is coming up soon. Be on the lookout. Or it's already here, so go find it. Thank you, Dope Teez, for supporting us and helping us do what we do here at the COS Business Podcast. Curious? Head over to Dope Teez website right now. That's www.dopeteez.biz, B-I-Z. That's www.dopeteez. Yes, check it out. We're thrilled to introduce our newest sponsor, Pinnacle Advanced Primary Care. Are you tired of the hassle that comes with traditional healthcare? Pinnacle is here to change the game. For just $68 a month, you get direct access to your primary care physician without the need for insurance, copays, or deductibles. Yeah, you heard that right. It's healthcare simplified. The benefits of using Pinnacle Advanced Primary Care is strong doctor-patient relationships. Enjoy extended 30 to 60-minute office visits and get the individualized care you deserve. Convenient access to care. Whether you're at home or travel the world, you can reach out to your local doctor via chat, email, or video visits. Cost-effective treatment. Pinnacle believes in radical transparency, offering you cost-effective care without any hidden fees. So, if you're ready to take control of your health and be an active participant in your healthcare journey, Pinnacle Advanced Primary Care is the way to go. Visit their website at pinnacleapc.com. That's pinnacleapc.com. Franchise Succeed. Franchise Succeed brings a wealth of knowledge to the table. Boasting a team of over 6 decades of combined experience in franchising and financial planning. They specialize in helping business owners elevate their companies through franchising. What sets them apart? Expertise in multiple industries. Whether you're in retail, finance, or energy exploration, they've got you covered. Tailored strategies. They work closely with their clients to understand the unique needs and goals, developing customized investment plans. Ethical approach. Integrity and ethics are at the core of their operations, ensuring they work with only the best and most qualified partners. They can help you. From customer service policies to million-dollar marketing programs, they've got the expertise. If you're thinking about franchising your business or need strategic guidance, look no further. That's franchisesucceed.com. franchisesucceed.com. Our next sponsor is a company I like to call, and they like to call themselves too, Planet Duct. If you're in Colorado Springs and surrounding areas and you haven't heard of Planet Duct, you're missing out. They're not just any air duct cleaning company service. They're NADCA NADCA certified specialist. Here's what sets them apart. Powerful equipment. Their team is highly trained to give your air ducts a cleaning that is literally out of this world. Comprehensive cleaning. From blowing the dust from your duct vents to cleaning the truck lines, they've got it all covered. They even clean the return drop, blower wheel, and filter compartment. Safety checks. After all that cleaning, they do a free carbon monoxide check to ensure your system is safe. Time efficient. Depending on your home size and project scope, they typically take about 3 to 5 hours to get the job done, and they get it done right. So if you're looking to breathe a little easier, give Planet Duct a call. Trust us, your lungs will thank you. Visit their website for more information at planetduct.com. Our next sponsor is Recon Marketing. And you know what? I'm going to tell you why Recon Marketing rocks. Their expertise. They know the ins and out of marketing like the back of their hand. They have many of years of experience in doing this, and you can trust them. Free consultations. Not sure if they're a right fit? They offer a free consultation to help you decide. And if that wasn't enough, the co-host of this episode today right now is Marcus Alvarado, who is the founder of Recon Marketing. Custom solutions. Every business is unique, and Recon Marketing tailors their services to meet your specific needs. Results driven. They focus on delivering real measurable results. So connect with them today. Get your free consultation today at reconmarketingservices.com. That's reconmarketingservices.com. So now we're going to dive into this amazing episode. Welcome back to the COS Business Podcast. My name is Andrew Hasley. Today we're sitting here with Brandi Wilks. What inspired you to want to start a health-based meal prep company?
Essentially, it started with my own health journey. Back in 2012, I had my daughter. She was about 5 months old. I was going through a really, really stressful time, going through a divorce, that type of thing with 2 young children. And instead of losing weight after having a baby, I was gaining weight and it wouldn't come off. Mm-hmm. And I now realize with the knowledge I have now, my cortisol levels were through the roof because stress can trigger that. And even if you're holding it together on the outside, your insides feel every part of that, and it can affect every single area of your body. And so I know now that was, what was going on back then, but I had gained over 60 pounds and I just felt miserable. I was tired. I couldn't think straight. It affected every area of my life. And so I moved to an apartment that's right here downtown, and it has kind of an uphill, then a straight hill, then a downhill, then another straight. And I put my girls in the wagon and I walked and walked and walked and walked. And I was like, that activity, I knew I needed it and I knew that was going to help me. But a lot of back then, what we're taught growing up is, certain things you're eating healthy, but it's not necessarily eating healthy. A lot of it is restriction. And that's because that's what our parents grew up with. If you wanted to lose weight and be healthy, then restrict yourself and eat salads and veggies. And that's, kind of the mindset that they all had that passed down to us. And so I ended up losing the weight. I lost about 60 pounds and I went to the doctor and she was like, okay, you lost all this weight now. You're back to pre-pregnancy weight, but you don't have any muscle to show for it. You need to basically try to get into a gym, hire a trainer. Because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing with this. Like I had never really had to go through that because I was always pretty fit and I'm a tiny person. I'm like barely over 5'2". So, I'm a little person that never had issues with it. And so I didn't know where to begin, but I knew my friend Shelby she was a personal trainer. And she was like, oh, yeah, I'll bring you to the gym. I'll kind of show you the ins and outs of how to start building muscle. And so she kind of showed me some basics, but I couldn't meet with her all the time. So I just kind of took it and ran with it. And then I ended up starting to babysit one of my friend's kids, and he was really big into the gym. And so he was like, well, I get out of school at this time. He's like, why don't you bring all the girls to the gym? And he's like, I'll just show you what to do. And he did. His knowledge with it was incredible and just what I needed to be able to build that muscle. And so that was my start in my journey with it, but working downtown and them having all the yummy fried foods, I knew that I needed to kind of do something to where I could bring my food to work. Mm-hmm. And essentially I started meal prepping for myself, but meal prepping back then wasn't a really well-known thing, or, bring a sandwich for lunch, that type of thing. Now. Yeah. And back then, it was even hard to find Tupperware containers that would work for it, weren't bulky and that would reheat well. And so I started bringing it to work with me, and I had regulars that were like, wait a minute, where'd you get that? I'm like, I made it myself. And then they started saying like, wait, can you do that for us? Because they were people that work downtown as well. And they're in, you know, that corporate environment where they go out to eat for lunch and they only have a limited amount of time for their lunch breaks. And so I started doing it with them. And that was probably 2014 time range. And they ended up moving. So I kind of fell out of it. But it kind of triggered that thought, like everybody needs this. And I could absolutely turn this into a business. And so I kind of started building ideas in my head for what it would look like back then and didn't have time to do it because I was working so much until 2020, whenever we, you know, everybody had all the time in the world.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so yeah, and then it stemmed from there. I started gaining clients I started doing it out of my teeny little apartment for regulars and friends that were like, oh yeah, it's okay that you're cooking out of your house. Like, no worries. But then it got so big that I realized I needed to find an actual kitchen to cook out of.
And not only that, but regulations as well too. Food regulations.
Right. And it was okay because, I mean, I was like, don't pay me. Like, I'm just doing this to kind of see where it's going. But then whenever I started knowing that I needed a kitchen, then it started getting into, okay, we have to, you know, go through the health department. What are the requirements? How do I do this in a way that, you know, I can expand and scale it to all of Colorado Springs? So yeah, and I've been doing it ever since.
That's awesome. I actually relate to that a lot because I was in like 2012, I was doing this burger delivery service and I would make the food at my house and I would deliver it and it was fun. So I learned about all the aspects of, if you're going to actually take it serious, you have to, you'll get shut down if you're not following the right health protocols and all that stuff. And and then in 2015, I noticed you did drinks as well too. I was doing this energy drink thing, so beverages. I actually found out you can't even cap the things with your hands.
Yes.
You have to have a machine that does it. Like whether it's like a hand machine or something else. There's just certain specific little things you need to do. Even if the cap just pops on, you can't just pop it on with your hands.
Oh yeah, and that changes too.
And that probably
because with my cold press juices that I do, essentially because I am working out of a commissary kitchen, which it's basically like a shared kitchen where there's probably 15 to 20 different businesses and food trucks operating out of it. Because I'm in that environment and I can keep it clean and safe and sanitary, they actually said it was different for me because if I hand tighten the caps, then I don't have to have what they call it a HACCP plan, which is a plan to kind of tell them how you're going to prevent any bacteria getting in there. And so because my juices aren't pasteurized, which we don't want to add heat because the nutrients start depleting if you add heat. Basically, with me being able to hand tighten the caps, then we're good to go. So it's crazy the different things you learn. I had to start from scratch because I didn't know anything about business. I didn't know anything. I had come from a family of entrepreneurs too, but they were construction and real estate and firefighters and, you know, stuff like that. So I'm like, I had to learn it all by myself. So
yeah, that's cool.
That's so crazy. So you started this while you had a career downtown, like some more famous places, right? Like Blondi's and Gasoline Alley.
Yep.
You did that for quite some time, right?
I did. It was 10 years. And I took a break somewhere in there for about a year. And then I came back and helped bartend at Mansion. And then they needed a manager for Blondi's. So I stepped into that role, which I loved. I had the best staff. They kind of helped. I don't think they realized how much they helped me keep me going. And they always kind of let me know, like, you help keep us going in this, but I think they helped me a lot too. And then whenever I started meal prep, we came back after all the stuff with COVID, reopening and all of that. And so, you know, Saturdays were hard because I knew that I was going to be up until 3:34 in the morning. But I also had like 150 to 200 meals to prep on Sunday in the morning. So I was functioning on little to no sleep for such a long time. And but I did it. And I knew I needed that for growth. And I kind of stepped out of that role to be able to put more time into my business. So I started bartending at Gasoline Alley, ended up somehow I was going to do 2 days a week, but I ended up doing 4 days a week. So it was 4 days a week at the bars, 3 days a week for meal prep. So
That's quite the grind. Holy cow. That's nuts.
It's
and
wild.
As a single mother as well, right?
Yep. I've got my 2 girls. My oldest is 14 and my youngest is 11. So we're in the middle school drama and the high school drama at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
So it's fun though. They make it fun. They think a lot differently than their peers. I like to say that the credit goes to me for that, but also it's just their personalities. They want to participate in this world rather than technology and being engulfed in that. And so a lot of times they're like, I want to hang out with my friends and do a sleepover, but they're on their phones the whole time. And I've always taught them, there's times and places for it, especially because they see me working from my phone. And, but there's balance in that where, there's times where, like with dinner, never have my phone at the dinner table because I want them to know I'm fully present and engaging with them. And then there's so many times where they're like, Mom, I have this important thing to tell you. And I'm like, give me 2 seconds to finish this email. And then I put it down and I give them my full attention. And I think they're having some struggles going through that at those ages where their peers are not participating like they are. So I told them they'll find their people. There's other kids out there that are, thinking the same way. So
For sure.
Well, I was just thinking when you were talking about that, there's a lot of learning lessons there, especially for single mothers. And you're kind of showing, it could be an inspiration for them seeing what you do, right? 2 girls, 2 jobs, multiple shifts, and you're figuring out a way to put boundaries into your life so these things don't overlap and it's just a big mess. And so if a single mother's listening to this right now, like what pieces of advice, if she's super overwhelmed, she's working full time, she's a single mother and she's thinking about being, maybe pushing into the entrepreneurial journey, like what words of wisdom do you have for her?
That's a great question because it can be so scary stepping into something that you don't think you have the knowledge for. And it's scary finding a balance. And I named my business Balanced Journey Nutrition for so many different reasons. But it's part of that and finding your own balance. There's no such thing as perfect balance, but you have to give yourself a lot of grace and wiggle room. And it's okay to have that hustle and okay to have that grind. But you really have to take care of yourself first. I've learned that the hard way and putting everything else before me and thinking that was the way to do it. But then my quality started, diminishing and, my presence in my own life started lacking where I feel like I lost my identity. And as single moms, we do go through that, especially when we're in the early stages of motherhood where you're responsible for this tiny human and your life is completely different than it was before. And you can't like you're grasping onto to all of the things that your life used to be. And it can be so hard stepping into that role, knowing that you have to take care of you first before your kids. And it sounds so weird and so crazy because it's like, no, you put everything into your kids and you can still put almost everything into your kids, but you have to take care of your health first, making sure that you're working out, you're getting adequate nutrition, that you're taking care of your mindset, that you're kind of doing things that feed your soul and set your soul on fire as well. But then when you take care of those other 3 areas of your life, it all leads to benefits in your production and your business and what you want to do as an entrepreneur. And so once you find that idea or that some people have this problem and you have the capability to solve it with what you're doing, then it's just kind of building little by little, but not losing sight of who you are as a person. I think that's probably the biggest thing that I could share for single moms too, is that you're never going to find that perfect balance, but you have to start those building blocks with yourself. And then it translates to every area of your life.
What does that look like? Like if you were to give a checklist for moms who need to balance their life, what would that checklist look like?
For me, I didn't have a checklist for a really, really long time. And I started with a life coach in July. and he gives us the checklist. Oh, nice. And I've been following this checklist, and it is spot on. It is so spot on for what we have to do. So part of the checklist that I do that I will also translate into nutrition coaching groups that I'm launching is essentially, first you have to worry about your body. So following a meal plan, getting into the gym, making sure that you're taking care of that health aspect first. The second part of it are relationships. So your relationship with yourself first and foremost, and then your relationships with those people around you. I know for a long time I struggled with this because I knew that I needed boundaries, but I didn't have any. And I was so worried about setting up boundaries because I didn't want to let people down. And that's sometimes the biggest part in it, is that you have to break that social contract with what you think is expected of you, but in turn it's not necessarily an accurate representation of what that relationship should be with those around you, your kids, your spouse, your friends, even people at the store. Like with my girls, I've taught them to give people compliments, and you can see them breaking down that social contract where they expect kids to not interact with somebody working at the store and checking out your groceries. But they'll say, "Oh, I really like your earrings." And the shock that comes over their face because they're breaking that social contract and that norm, they're like, "Oh my gosh, your girls are so sweet." And they're, I need that compliment today. And like the response you get from that is crazy. So I always recommend those social contracts that aren't serving you well or can become toxic or even abusive. I've been part of that as well. Once you break that, people are going to think you're crazy. They're going to be like, "What is she doing? This is not the norm. This isn't what we're supposed to do." But whenever you start breaking those, it's really freeing. And it goes into, having a better relationship with yourself. And then once you have, the nutrition and the working out and taking care of your body part, and then you have healthy relationships surrounding yourself, then it leads into your mindset, which is like the third thing. And that for that checklist, it sounds super crazy, but mirror affirmations are a part of that. You definitely want to make sure that you're finding some form of meditation and time for yourself to like slow down and think and really sort your thoughts out, basically. But taking care of your mind and feeding your mind, you need to be able to learn and kind of act like a sponge, just soaking up information, especially with whatever career path you're in. You want to definitely focus your knowledge towards that. And then the last part is business production. And with that, we have deposit money every day, and that can look like actual physical money, which is great. We all love that. But it can look like, doing a podcast or giving out your business cards or posting on social media as well, because we have this free tool in the palm of our hands that can help scale our businesses. So those are kind of the 4 areas and kind of like the checklist to go through. And doing it every day is so important. You're not going to be perfect every day, but if you're not perfect every day and you didn't check it off, it's like, okay, now tomorrow I need to work on this specifically.
Yeah, I think the meditation part really helps manage the stress of it all too. And, and you were talking about stress, how it impacted your weight, and it's interesting how stress can do that. Like, it's just, I was just actually listening to a podcast before this, and this lady was specifically talking about belly fat being related to stress.
It is. Specifically. And it happened to me again. Last year I gained 28 pounds, almost 30 pounds, and it was stress. And my organs were feeling it. My digestion was off. My water intake, I'm way better now. Water intake's hard for a lot of people. And especially in Colorado, it being so dry, it's like...
There's a lot of water in beer, though.
I don't know about that, my friend. Occasionally.
But it's one of the main ingredients.
This is true. But even alcohol can affect that too. Because even, drinking occasionally, being in the bar atmosphere and drinking occasionally, my body was so inflamed because stress, not only does it raise cortisol levels, it causes inflammation. And even when your inflammation is at low grade level, if you start adding alcohol, which is an inflammatory, then it's like your body's on fire inside.
Yeah.
And so it can also lead to even more cortisol levels raising, and your body just can't flush out any of the bad stuff. And so you feel like crap. I couldn't sleep. I had insomnia on top of not having enough time to sleep. But, you know, then it makes you crave sugar more. That's a big thing that I come across with people. It's insane. It can affect every area of your body.
When I quit drinking, when I do quit, because I quit multiple times a year.
Hey, yeah, that works.
My cravings for sugar, it do go up, and I have to combat that because that's just as bad as the alcohol, you know, when it comes to inflammation on your body and all that stuff. And actually I do, in certain, depending on how your perspective is how you're looking at it, sugar probably could even be considered worse than alcohol, if not just, it's probably about equal. But,
it's pretty comparable. It's one of those things that even last year, like I was eating probably more sugar than I ever had in the last 10 years. And so that was a big thing too. So I quit sugar too. I keep it very minimal. I will not sacrifice my crappy coffee creamer in the morning.
Okay.
It's straight up, it is filled with, it is fake oils, but that coconut creamer, I won't give that up. But
is there an alternative for that?
There are tons of ways that you can alter that. Honey is still considered a sugar, but your body processes it differently because it's less processed sugar. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can do it, or you can cut out creamer altogether if you're brave and like the taste of that. But there's a lot of ways things that I kind of changed, and I do like first thing in the morning. I drink like 20 to 30 ounces of water right as soon as I wake up, because your body is so dehydrated whenever you first wake up. And if I just go straight to drinking coffee in the morning, I will not drink water throughout the whole day. Like my body's like, nope, we're good. We're set. We got our caffeine in our coffee. And that's so detrimental, because then I'm chugging water at night, and then I'm not sleeping because I'm running to the bathroom all night.
Yeah, you're interrupting your sleep. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, water, drinking like a good amount of water right when you wake up, it activates all your organs as well too.
Yes, it kind of wakes them up. Oh yeah.
I'm the same way with water. I have to drink it in the morning, or when I'm working out or something like that. That's like how I trick my body to drinking more, which is funny because you're losing water when you work out. So like you need it. But I'm the same way with if I have coffee first, coffee will get me. I will not drink water. I'll just keep drinking coffee and dehydrate myself.
And then you want a second cup and a third cup. And then you're at 3 o'clock, you're crashing and you're like, oh man. I also found a really good supplement line finally, after it feels like I've tried every supplement out there. But finding a good supplement line that kind of can help replenish those nutrients that you're losing or lacking in is also really beneficial as well.
Nice.
Oh man. Well, you've mentioned so many good things. And one of the things I want to bring up was the relationship part and the boundaries. You spent a lot of time in the nightlife industry, and I'm sure like you've developed a lot of great relationships. And it sounds, you're very personable. I've just really met you today, but you're very you can tell you have experience talking to people one-on-one or small groups or whatever it might be. And do you think that's attributed to a lot of your success with your business? Because I know, as anybody, when they're first starting a business, they start with their immediate sphere of influence, which is people they care about and their friends and family. How has that been like starting your business? Has a lot of your friends and family adopted? And it sounds like they were, but like how has that affected your business?
So if I can recommend one skill to anybody, it is learning how to have genuine conversations by being yourself. And there are so many moments where a lot of it is fear. Like you have to let go of fear. And I realized I was walking with a lot of fear throughout all of my 20s, basically. But essentially the second you put that fear aside, you're able to kind of connect with people in a different way. And that does go into the relationship part, is connecting with people. You know, so many people feel they're not listening technically. They're just like trying to think of what to answer with, like really rapidly. Mm-hmm. And so if you kind of just like slow it down a little bit and really try to get to know people and, you know, what they're kind of going through, I can find so many conversations, even in just regular day-to-day, where we're talking about one experience and then they mention something that they'll end up asking a question. And I'm like, well, I could help you out with that, you know, because I've built up those tools and those communication skills to really, if they are having a problem, I can totally help with it. And, you know, I do it in a way that essentially I'm not trying to push them into anything, because people have to be ready for changes. But if you're listening, it's kind of them even mentioning certain things. It's kind of their way of asking for help without saying that. And a lot of people are like, I would have never asked for your help had you not asked this question about whenever I said this thing, essentially. But yeah, basically a lot of my bartending experience, you have people that are coming there to either have fun, which is great, to decompress from their life outside of that place. But also a lot of people that are facing really, really big problems. Mm-hmm. I kind of acted as a therapist
I'm sure,
without meaning to. But it was essential to, you know, not only giving people a good customer experience or customer service experience, but really making them feel like they're heard. Because some people don't have others to talk to in their day-to-day lives. And even with my family, you know, they're like, oh, you were talking about this and this on your social media, and I have been experiencing that same exact thing, and it made me realize I need your help. So a lot of my family, they all moved to Tennessee last year. Mm. So I'm a lone wolf here in Colorado Springs now, which has been a big, big change. But they were my very first clients, and they needed, you know, meal prep that they could bring to work with them or have for dinner when they didn't want to cook. There's a lot of benefits to having meals on hand that you didn't have to put as much effort into
healthy meals,
creating them. Yes, and healthy meals too.
Balanced nutrition meals.
Yes. Yep. I try to balance everything. As far as those like big 3 macronutrients, the carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, I try to do pretty even across the board, especially for people that if they're following some sort of a meal plan, I stray away from doing specific macros because it can get kind of wild and all over the place. Mm-hmm. But if I'm giving them something that can be easily implemented into what they need for their macros, then it kind of takes a little bit of the guesswork out of it for them.
Yeah. So literally balanced, like, right?
Not quite in the middle. It's kind of hard whenever you're, you know, working with different components of different meals, but I do focus on, you know, good protein and an adequate amount of protein for the meal. If you're doing carbs, it's going to come from mainly vegetables, unless I do a pasta meal, because let's be real, I love pasta. Yeah, okay. Gotta have pasta here and there. But I balance it out with healthy fats too. So it's not coming from, you know, a lot of different oils or basically boxed ingredients that have a lot of preservatives or a lot of processed foods. I really try to stick to whole ingredients because that's what our bodies need.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of, like, my relationship with food has been very interesting throughout the years. I like to eat. I'm a big foodie for sure. Yeah. And for a long time, I didn't even know when to stop eating. I always had, I think a lot of it, like you said, goes on with like how your day is going and anxiety. Yes. People stress eat. There's so much that goes on. When you quit drinking, like your sugar, you want sugar. That's how I am too. Mm-hmm. Like I have to have like a soda once a week if I'm not drinking or something like that. It's interesting to see what happens with you. And I'm sure you've learned a ton about people and like their habits and like the psychology of it as well has probably been huge for some of your clients as well, right?
Oh yeah. Whenever a big key component whenever I have nutrition coaching clients is kind of getting a good basis of what their relationship with food is. And it can be, like I said before, anything from restrictive eating to overeating and kind of what's happening in their life to make them veer one way or the other. A lot of it goes into what they were raised with. Did they have parents that were promoting a healthy relationship with food, or did their parents have their version of a relationship with food that they kind of pushed onto their kids? And so a lot of my clients too, I'm like, sometimes you have to be the one to break that generational curse, especially when they're parents too. I can't even count how many times my friends are like, oh, your kids they're hardly ever sick, but mine are sick all the time. And so we kind of go through, well, what are you giving your kids access to on a daily basis as far as, do they have access to sugar? Are they drinking sodas? Are they, getting vegetables? That's a big one. Like even fruits too. Fruits are so important too, because all those little micronutrients in there, especially for their little growing bodies, like those are definitely necessary. But also how they speak about food. So a lot of people hear the word diet and they're like, oh, diet, restricted, losing weight, like all these different key words around the term diet. And I teach clients that the term diet is just referring to the foods that you are putting into your body. And we have to, that's one of the biggest first key components, is we have to fix our relationship with food to formulate any type of change that's going to benefit your health in the long run. So it's crazy. It's so extensive and it goes really, really deep. I've had clients from every facet of that relationship with food. And I've had clients that have had coaches that they're more so putting what they believe on to those clients in an unhealthy way. I had a girl that came to me and she was like, I have a meal plan, but something doesn't feel right here. And so I asked her to send it over so I could take a look. And this coach that she had hired was having her ingest almost 2,800 calories a day and recommending all these. He's like, you need to do this amount for this and this for supplements and this, that, and the other thing. And you need to work out this amount throughout the days and all of this stuff. And it was like he was in the bodybuilding space. And while that's great and it's wonderful, and there's a definite need for coaches that are in that space, she was like, I just want to lose a little weight and like have some energy and, feel great throughout the day. And she's like, I'm not trying to be a bodybuilder. And so we kind of had to rearrange that for her. And then I've had another client that came to me with a meal plan too that was set up by another coach, that it was incredibly restrictive, where she was eating probably 800 to 1,000 calories a day. And that is not enough. And so we really she had been eating that way and following that plan for about 6 months. And she wasn't seeing results. She wasn't losing weight. She felt horrible every day, low energy, brain fog. That's always a big one that gets all of us. But we had to rearrange her relationship with food in starting by increments of, let's add 200 calories here. Let's add a protein shake here, like gradually, because if I had her eat what she should have been eating right away, her body wouldn't have reacted well, because her body was conditioned to be in a lacking environment. Right. So it's I could talk about it all day. It's one of my passions, and that's why I'm adding nutrition coaching back into just not doing just meal prep, but adding nutrition coaching back into it as well, because there's a big need for it.
Yeah. What would you say would be some of the common misconceptions people have when hiring a meal prep? Someone, not just meal prep, but what you do, like all of what you do.
All of it. A lot of it is essentially thinking that there's a quick fix, because there's not. It's an unfortunate answer. I wish that I had a magic pill to give people to make it all better. That would make everybody's life easier. But it's a lot of discipline. You have to completely be ready to make the changes. One of my favorite quotes by Sean Whalen is essentially the concept of when the pain of what you'll have to change becomes greater than the pain of what you're experiencing. I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember it word for word, but it's essentially that, like, you have to be completely desperate for this change and get to that very, very bottom low to be like, okay, I'm ready to jump in. I definitely need this service. And hiring a coach can be the best way to do it. Colorado's a little different because you, Andrew, you could say right now that you're a nutrition coach and go tell me that I need to eat 180 grams of sugar every day. And, you know, I'd lose weight. Like, you don't have to technically have certifications or a degree or anything like that in Colorado to be able to coach somebody nutritionally. And there's a lot of multi-level marketing companies out there promoting certain products that they essentially hand them a packet and tell them, repeat it word for word, you'll have success. And so it kind of doesn't set anybody up for success in that aspect because they don't have that knowledge. So a lot of it is thinking that I can just hire anybody out there and that all my problems will be fixed. You really want to look at, you know, do they have a clientele that they've helped before? Do they have something that, you know, you have to be able to connect with your coach too. And you have to, like my client that felt like something was wrong, seek outward sources. If you feel like something that you're being told to do is completely wrong, you want to do your research because it can be detrimental to your health and your life whenever that happens. But essentially it boils down to just making sure you're ready and seeking that information like I did myself with, you know, a friend that was a personal trainer and somebody that was in the space that had knowledge of what to do with working out. And essentially with meal prep in that regard, a lot of the misconceptions can be that it's too expensive or that I'm not getting what I need or I'm not going to be full from this meal. With the expensive part, the food costs have been a big struggle here lately because I try to keep the cost as low as humanly possible for people. But it's my business. So, you know, I have to price it in a certain way. But some of my clients have found that they would go out and spend $200 worth of groceries with every intention of cooking it. But then the mixed greens go bad within 2 days. Oh, yeah. And if you don't prep it, you know,
the avocados I've thrown out.
Oh my gosh, yes. Even if you put them in the fridge, you know, the shelf life of food, it can diminish so rapidly that they're like, I'm actually saving money because I'm not wasting all those groceries. And, you know, that's a good way to kind of look at it with
But it's also a service. You're not just, you're also, you're providing the time saved.
Yes.
Which I think is a huge part because I don't like cooking. And I know there's a lot of people that are probably like me too.
Right.
And a lot of people that do like cooking, I know. My roommate's one of them. He cooks a lot.
There you go.
But he cooks every meal. I don't cook any meal. So I'm the opposite.
And you have a busy lifestyle too. And that's a lot of us are facing that where we feel like we don't have enough time in our day. So then you get to dinner and you're just like, what do I feed myself? What do I feed my family? And then the easiest option is to order out. And that can get even more pricey. I know there was a day where, you know, I was in between being out of town and coming back home and my girls were with their dad. So I didn't want to like stock up groceries before I left to be out of town. And we came back and I was like, nope, we're ordering out. And I mean, it was like $80 to $90 for 3 people. And my kids are eating like kid-sized portions. So it's wild.
Yeah, it's huge. And that's why I help so many people like us business owners out there. Because for me, like, I don't like to cook either. I don't have the time. And for me, like, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think. I want something that's going to be good for me. That like, because I want my decision making, all the choices that you get in a day. We all have a certain amount of decisions we have to make in our brain throughout the day. Whether it's like I don't remember what it is, like 10,000 or whatever you have.
33,000. We'll put the stats up right here.
It has been said that on average, every adult makes around 35,000 choices every single day.
There you go.
We'll go with 33,000. I don't want any of that to be like, okay, what am I going to eat? Does my girlfriend want to eat? What does she want to eat? When am I going to cook it? What ingredients? Like, I don't want that to be part of my mindset when I'm fully focused on my workflow. And so it's so important for me, like meal prepping has always been a big part of my life because of that, because I can't give up that in my head when I'm trying to do so many things in my career, you know? So it's so important. Like people like you, not only is it good quality food, it's thoughtfully made and it's convenient. I love it. I think that's a great, and we have a fridge in the office over here. Let's get some. Let's do this.
Let's stock you guys up. Then everybody can just grab and go.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say with what you were saying, I change my menu weekly, partially because of that. I do have options where because I do have people that are just like, nope, chicken and broccoli, give it to me. But I do have a lot of people that they're just like, I'm so sick of eating the same thing. And so I do basically 3 main meal options, and I change those every week so that, you can have pasta one night and you can have chili the next night. And I try to pull from, if we're doing tacos, then I try to throw in some Italian style. So I try to keep that variety for people so that they can kind of pick and choose what they're going to have. But also they could do the meat and veggies or meat and rice options. And I've got breakfast options that are available, especially like I love doing, we were talking about breakfast burritos before this. I do breakfast burritos where you can take them out of the freezer and stock up and just have those to grab and go whenever you are running out the door and need something good that's going to fuel your day.
Oh, that's awesome. How are the logistics with that? Do folks have to come and pick them up from the commercial kitchen? Do you deliver it to them? How does that work? So
I have limited delivery just because I'm still a one-woman show. Yeah. So majority of my clients do pick up from me. Nice. The kitchen's off of Delmonico and Woodman. Oh, nice. So it's pretty conveniently located off the interstate. And so basically they pick a time whenever they're doing their order. It gets sent to me and I make sure to prep everything on Sunday. Most people pick a Monday or Tuesday pickup time. I've had people want to pick up Wednesday and Thursday, but I let them know the shelf life of their food. It doesn't last far past, it's basically Saturday is the cutoff date for your meals. So basically people order Monday through Saturday. I make everything on Sunday and they pick up on Monday. And then Mondays are the days that I release like a new menu for people every week. And
so people are picking up a week's worth of food essentially at a time.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. I have some people that only need dinner, so they're getting about 5 meals. I have people that, they want every single meal taken care of for them. I have people that are kind of in between where they get 10 to 12 meals a week, but it's really convenient to have it. I don't have a minimum because I'm like, maybe somebody just needs 1 meal, but they can kind of gauge their week like, okay, I know that I'm going out for dinner this night. I know that I do want to cook because there are those people that do want to still cook. And I super encourage that because any home cooked meal that you're doing far better than eating out or, doing frozen meals or anything like that. So it's very easy for them to go through and count how many meals they might need and then put that in their order and then have that variety too.
I'm a marketer by trade, and so I have so many thoughts and ideas coming up when I hear about all these cool things that you're doing. And I definitely think you should be a person that, and I don't want to add any more to your plate, but there's a lot of great tools out there.
I might be able to handle it. We'll see.
I think you should add a newsletter to your mix. I think it'd be very important. And if you don't have one yet, there's a lot of great tools out there, especially a lot of new tools out there.
You might have to enlighten me on the tools for sure.
There's one called Beehive out there. I don't know if Andrew's even heard of this. Have you heard of Beehive? So Beehive is a great newsletter tool. And it integrates a lot of AI. So it can help you generate the content ideas or help you generate at least like a base for the content too. Yeah. It could be based off of like customer testimonials, nutrition fact, like people would love that. And again, you're reaching everybody in the community.
We'll everybody has a link in the description.
Yeah, everybody has a personal relationship with food, everybody. So you reach everybody. And so, yeah, I think it'd do really well. And plus Beehive also has a monetization piece to it too. So like if you have more exclusive things you want to offer in your newsletter, people can pay you $1, $5 a month, and then they get like an exclusive whatever from you. Yeah. Which is cool. You can build up a good audience and it'd be a really good referral network for you too.
Absolutely. That really cool. is one thing that the point of sale system that I use for online ordering, they're making some changes with it. So I'm trying to stay with them because I do love what they have to offer for ordering and online services. But part of it is not being able to send out, emails for people. And I do a lot of text order reminders. And I always make sure people are okay with it because I'm like, I don't want to drive you nuts. But if you need the reminder like I do, I need reminders. So I appreciate the reminder text. And majority of my clients are like, yes, please, because I will get to Friday and I will forget. And then come Saturday when you close your menu, it's too late and I couldn't order my meals. So, but having a newsletter like that would be amazing to be able to have them
Oh gosh, so many good segments. Business owners, single mothers, like there's so many cool little channels and segments you can make from it that people will just so benefit from for sure.
And you can automate a lot of that text reminder stuff too with your if you build your client list, and you can have everyone where you don't have to, because I don't know if you're manually sending it out to each of them. That's time consuming,
Yes.
And so there's definitely ways that you could and should automate that just so you're more efficient with your time.
Absolutely. I'm like, anything to save me time at this point is incredibly beneficial.
Yeah, those are so affordable in comparison to other tools that are out there, like the text automation, text, SMS, and then email those are some cheaper tools that are out there, and they can really push the needle forward for you, for your business. That would be great.
Absolutely.
And we'd be on the newsletter. I'd love to get some.
Yeah, I love that. I come across people that need podcasts or videography services or things that you guys have to offer too. And I'm moving more so into that space of partnering with different people. I have a company that I've partnered with. They are a bike shop.
Oh, cool.
And it stems from two guys that have a passion for traveling, and they want everybody to experience the outside world in a beneficial way. And so they offer trips to Guatemala, South Africa, like all of these different places. But we recently partnered together to offer, they have a membership, and their clients basically, if they sign up for their membership, they get a 10% discount with me. And since they just opened their bike shop, they have a refrigerator that they fell in love with one of my cold pressed juices. It's like it's a bright blue one, and their colors are like the black and blues and stuff like that. And so they were like, Brandi, this has to be our juice. So we're working on getting that set up. And then I have another thing that's happening around December-ish into the beginning of next year that I can't let everybody know quite yet about it, but it's going to drastically expand my reach and the convenience of picking up meals and potentially delivery, which I'm excited about because I know that delivery is a need, especially with how busy we all are. Essentially, it would be, if you're not going to be home, leave your cooler outside. We'll drop off the meals and put them in your cooler for you so that when you get home, you can pop them right in your fridge and have meals for the week. So I'm moving more so into a space of growth where I can scale and serve more people in Colorado Springs because there's such a big need for it. So exciting things happen. Can't talk about happening, but I can't talk about all of it yet, but it's coming.
Nice.
That's great. Strategic partnerships are huge. So it sounds like you're tapping it again, going back to relationships and what you've built over the past 10 years, that's so important. And I mean, we'd love to have it on the show and we'd just be drinking while we're having an episode.
Heck yeah. And you get the nutrients. They're so packed. The cold pressed juices are packed full of micronutrients that everybody focuses on protein, fats, and carbs. But the micronutrient benefits are so good for your immunity, for energy levels, for good sleep. It's incredible. I kind of deep dove into that and fell in love with doing cold pressed juices too, just for their benefits.
Oh, man. Well, it's so interesting because we talked about so much, but one of the cool things that it's not really cool. It's actually very hard. I think just like alcohol or harder drugs, when someone's getting off something and they have the withdrawals from it, sugar, it's very challenging. So like if someone's out there listening to this and they're like, man, like I know I'm eating too much sugar. I know when I'm like trying to withdraw from sugar, it's very challenging. My body feels a certain way because it's addicted to the sugar. It almost needs the sugar at that point.
Right.
And they are looking for options like yours where they can have someone who makes a meal for them for the whole week and can get them on the better track. Like what advice would you give for them if they're just checking you out for the first time?
So if you're checking me out for the first time, question asking is great because it kind of lets me know how I can help you. I have those clients that jump right in, order all their meals, and they just order from there on out and they don't need any help, which is awesome. But if you need help, ask, and I can kind of direct you to which meals on my menu that I'm offering for that week would kind of be a good fit for you. And like you said, if you're trying to let go of alcohol, if you're trying to let go of sugar, cold pressed juices can be a good alternative. Because those sugars are more broken down and your body does process those in a different way. But I also came up with one that is like an activated charcoal lemonade, and that can kind of help you start to detox your body from the toxins. And I have people, not promoting it as a hangover cure, but I have had regulars from the bar say, oh man, we went way too hard. I feel like crap today. Can I have one of those charcoal juices? And you drink it slowly over a 2-hour time period, and it slowly gets all the toxins out of your body. And then you start to actually crave the juices because you're craving the nutrients rather than craving the sugar, craving the alcohol, craving all the salt. Because I know I'm a big savory person. I'm much more, I'd rather go to the salty, savory foods rather than sugars. But whenever you quit alcohol, your body's like, I need that because it's broken down into sugar. And so that's why your body is like, give me all of it. Give me all the candy to kind of get yourself through that. But it's not detoxing you from the sugars. So yeah, I'm like, asking questions is the best place to start because I can kind of get an idea of what your needs are and how the service with meals and juices and nutrition coaching, how it can kind of help you start to feel better.
Oh gosh, that's awesome. That's so great. Well, before we start wrapping this up, is there anything else that you like to update us on, or where can we find you? So it's kind of a 2-part question.
Okay. So biggest update is I'm adding the nutrition coaching groups. I plan on launching those the beginning of November. It kind of overlaps since the 31st is on a Tuesday. So I want to start people off beginning of the week, getting a baseline of what they want to do with nutrition coaching. So that's going to be a big launch. I've got my personal social media that can we link it? Okay. All right. So we'll link the social media for my personal and my business page. Personal is where I more so do the nutrition coaching aspects, and you get to see my life and my kids and my food and recipe videos. And then Balanced Journey Nutrition on Instagram and Facebook are going to be where you can see my meals, see my new menus, see what I'm doing with cold pressed juices. I work a lot with First Form supplements too, so I can also post my link for that if anybody needs help with what supplements to take. So yeah, those are kind of my big 3 things.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. I think it's gonna be super important to our listeners. We have a lot of entrepreneurs and people who are just starting business. I'm sure they're very overwhelmed with the day-to-day of just running a business for the first time. So something like this is so useful. I mean, even for the 3 of us in here, we're like, yeah, that's one of the biggest things of what are we going to eat downtown, or should we prep something? We have a mini fridge over there that we can
I've got you
store
guys
plenty
covered.
of meals, so it's so important.
You guys.
So thank you so much for all your knowledge and your insight into this industry. It's super important.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I was super excited to be able to come here and do this and talk with people about it.
Yeah, it's been a long time in the making.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because we were going to do it like a year ago, I think.
I know, and we of course that we get busy and we're in different places in life, but yeah, I'm super thankful that I got to meet you guys.
Yeah, and I'm happy for your journey and you really getting started on like really taking this business like full time and really, because you've been doing it for a while, but you've recently really gone full-fledged into it.
Full force. I'm like, this is what I'm doing. It's, I don't have the 2 jobs anymore. I just have this, but I have different areas in this that make it feel like, they say, be an entrepreneur. It's worth it. 1,000,000% worth it.
I think you have to have that point of no return point, or kind of where you're going all in, because if you're always at a job, it's going to be hard for you to put the time in that you need to really make a business successful, which is one of the hard things to do in life if you want to do that.
Yeah, having other jobs, I wasn't able to put as much time and energy, and so my business didn't scale as quickly as I would have loved it to, but I wasn't all in. And so now this year, being in a place where I'm completely all in, it's growing and it's working little by little, and it's kind of like Balanced Journey Nutrition 2.0.
Yeah.
So, because it's growing.
That's awesome. Well, sweet. This has been a great episode, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Yeah.
That was good. That was a great episode. That was awesome.
I know. I'm like, even thinking about it, I'm like, there's so much that like we could probably do a 3-hour long podcast
I was thinking
about
about
it.
that too. I had like a lot of questions. I'm like, oh gosh, that would be like a whole nother 30 minutes.
Right.